As annoying as ScarJo has been recently, how can you not love that reaction to not only having her own movie, finally, but getting to promote it at Comic-Con as the closing announcement until Blade came in. But still, she was the big finale of Kevin Feige's presentation, the official finale. As I said before, Blade was the mic drop. But anyway, it's just adorable. It's so pure. And I'd be happy to get one of those hats too. That might even be my expression if I got one of those hats, which are much nicer than I thought they would be. When I first saw the tweet they were handing out hats, I was like, whatevs. And then I saw the hat and I was like, that's a pretty nice hat. With Black Widow's silhouette standing in her logo, complete with Eskrima sticks, which hopefully we'll finally get to see her actually use in a fight scene. She always just deploys them and then they cut away. And there's been a lot of cool I have to use cutouts all the time in my editing, so I've seen so many cool pictures of Black Widow with her Eskrima sticks, but I've never seen her actually use them in the movie. No one really ever uses them. Nightwing is yet to make it to the silver screen. I need to see that fight scene. I think it would be super cool. But yes, when it comes to sticks, there's no doubt that ScarJo's Black Widow has been stuck with the short end again and again. Finally, though, getting her own movie 10 years after making her MCU debut. I will never forget going to an early screening for review of Civil War, and they mixed in some regular moviegoers with the group, and this woman in front of me during Scarlett Johansson's opening fight sequence was just going crazy. She was so happy. She was fighting along with Scarlett Johansson. And I was like, Black Widow needs her own movie. And she finally has one. But it was a long road again. 10 years. Wow, that's as long as the MCU through Endgame. That's how long she's been waiting. And she was so bummed about not getting a solo movie. You might recall she didn't show up to the premiere of Civil War. Now, I'm sure some of you might be able to point to some excuse maybe, but Chris Evans, I believe, has missed a premiere because he was on Broadway and Lobby Hero, but that's a legit excuse. Otherwise, you should be there when you're in a really big Marvel movie. But she wasn't there to represent, but she's been showing up lately, having to duke it out with Brie Larson for fashion choices. I can't believe they both wore Gauntlet-inspired jewelry. You gotta check with each other, ladies. All right, so anyway, after a night, who wore it better? I actually thought that Scarlett Johansson looked a little bit better. They both looked lovely. And then Scarlett Johansson messed it all up with her recent stupid doubling down on that representation thing. But right before that, she had an iconic death in Endgame. What a scene. What a scene. I still remember thinking when it started, if you let Hawkeye die here because he's the guy and she's the woman, that's going to so undercut Natasha. Although I don't like when people say, well, he has a family and she's alone. I think his family factored into her decision, but, she, as I said in my coverage of the movie, if you're a soldier, a legit soldier, you really can't step on the battlefield unless you're willing to make that ultimate sacrifice, as she did. Loved it. And again, she just kind of hurt all that goodwill, Scarlett Johansson. But anyway, this prequel, because it will cover Budapest, so we know it's a prequel now, will uncover Natasha's past with the Black Widow program. And the movie promises some of her secrets. They better be good. This is a May release date. Now, this amazing piece of concept art, we're off to a good start here, this in the hat, and Scarlett Johansson's reaction. But this was released at Comic-Con with Black Widow wearing a utility bodysuit. Eat your heart out, Batman! It is a nice suit. I hope she uses each and every one of those stupid weapons. Come on already. But she's fighting, as you can see here, TO Fagbenle's Taskmaster, who has a surprisingly tiny shield. Now, you can see that his mask does have subtle skull elements. I think actually pretty sophisticated. I'm impressed. And he's also wearing his trademark blue and orange colors, although from on-set pics, we can see that in the actual suit for the film, the colors are a bit more muted, which makes sense because a lot of spies don't dress in orange and blue. Although, I like orange. I think orange and blue, though. That's a tough sell! But anyway, if you want to learn more about Taskmaster, I made a whole video about him when the on-set pictures first appeared. There's a link down below in the video description. But right here, I will tell you that what his power is that he can mimic anything he sees someone else do. from fighting to sports to, and this is an educated guess on my part here, but it would be awesome in a spy movie, and that's if he sees someone enter a code on a door, he can enter that exact same code just by having seen them do it. Wow, that's awesome. Now, footage shown to attendees at Comic-Con is said to feature a fight between the two of them. We have a still image here, but a whole fight has been shown, or at least the beginning of it, where Taskmaster, for part of it, mimics her movements as if she's looking in a mirror. And if you've seen Annihilation, starring Jane Foster, you know how cool that scene could be. And kudos. I mean, I know the VFX team will factor in here, but really, kudos to Scarlett Johansson, Fagbenle, and their stunt doubles if they can pull off that mirror fight choreography. Like, if you can make the audience really aware that they're mirroring each other instead of it's just a fight, that'll be impressive. Now, Natasha and Taskmaster will be doing another type of dance as well, the dance of romance. As it was also revealed at Comic-Con that he's not only Natasha's contact and apparently foe, but there is a romance angle between the two of them. Now, next up, there's Rachel Weisz, who we finally got a name for the character, Melina. And that's all we needed, because in the comics, Melina is Iron Maiden. Now, obviously, there might be some surprises here, and I have a couple of theories, but we do know a lot about Iron Maiden. Now, interestingly, on a side note, in the Hawkeye comic, which it seems the Disney Plus show will be based off of, because it's the same damn logo, Clint and Kate spend a lot of time fighting Madame Mask, who has a similar look. But anyway, in the comics, Melina finds herself unable to match Natasha's skill and comes to hate her. She's super jelly, PB&J. And she becomes a Black Widow villain. A lot of women in the Black Widow program have been jealous of Natasha, which is a sad commentary a little bit on women in groups. But anyway, most lately in the comics, the daughter of the Red Room's headmistress, Recluse, also had the same problem. But you know what? I'm sure the Red Room encourages that type of infighting, that competition between the widows in the program. And, you know, again, because that's not a good look for women in groups, you could just add that to the list of evil for the Black Widow program. Now, anyway, Rachel Weisz has also said at Comic-Con that Melina has been through the Black Widow program 5 times. Woo! Red Room dropout. And I'm sure that makes her extra mean and angry. But anyway, she also added that in the movie, she undergoes an experiment, which I would guess is likely to try and level the playing field with Natasha. That's how they always sell people on these experiments. You can be as good as your nemesis, or better, right? Now, in the comics, Iron Maiden wears a suit of armor. It's like, I guess, Bucky's arm all over her whole body. Although that's not a sleeve. That's his actual new arm. But anyway, who knows what's going on with Iron Maiden? Maybe she has a new body. I don't know. But it not only protects her, but increases her strength, plus features built-in weapons. That could be cool. Also in the comics, Iron Maiden was now this is great. Iron Maiden was part of an all-female group of super criminals, right? Called the Femizons. I kid you not! But that could be a really funny joke reference in the movie. I would love that. And they're led by Superia, aka Dr. Deidre Wentworth. Now, Superia was later a part of Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers, a big part of it. So the character could potentially be introduced here as the doctor in charge of Weisz's experiment. So look out for Superia or Dr. Wentworth. Now next, there's David Harbour playing Alexei, much to the delight of Stranger Things fans. But Alexei isn't just the name of an adorable, slushy-slurping scientist. It's also the name of Natasha's younger brother in the comics. Now, obviously, David Harbour is not younger than Scarlett Johansson, but he could be her older brother or some other relative. But he can't be her dad, because remember in Endgame, it was revealed that her father's name was Ivan. Now, I loved Scarlett Johansson's reaction to that. And I loved, they did it really low-key. She's like, I didn't even know that was his name. That was great. Now, in the comics, Alexei was a good guy and a master swordsman. He even did some work for S.H.I.E.L.D., eventually being killed on a mission. So don't be surprised if he doesn't make it out of this movie. Don't worry, I think David Harbour still has Stranger Things. Watch the end credits scene on that show. Then finally, we saved maybe the future for last. That's Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. Now, like many anti-heroes, if you don't know, I like to say Florence Pugh because it's like pew, 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 pew. I know a lot of you know what I'm referencing, but I'm always like, someone might be like, why are you saying Florence Pugh's name all weird, huh, Grace? What's your problem with her? I got no problem with Florence Pugh. I love Florence Pugh. Now, like many anti-heroes, she started out as a Black Widow villain before becoming an uneasy ally, and at one point, even a replacement for Natasha. The character is pretty well known to Marvel fans, and even Scarlett Johansson in her cursory research became aware of the character, saying her blonde-haired Infinity War was an homage, a cursory homage. Although Black Widow's role in Infinity War was super tiny, not really much room to do anything there of any importance, but she's got a whole movie now. Now, in the footage shown at Comic-Con, they also had an intense fight, but then are clearly friends, and afterwards they share a drink with Natasha even calling Yelena sis. I don't know if they're actually sisters, it might just be because they've both come up through the program. But considering Yelena's sketchy past, and that Iron Maiden in the comics ran with an all-female group of villains, well, there's no telling where Yelena's true allegiances lie. And I wouldn't be surprised if they change up a whole bunch during the course of the film. And eventually, though, I'm sure she on the spinner of Yelena, she ends on good. Because there's a lot of speculation, from myself included, that since Natasha died in Endgame, and this is a prequel, this will be Yelena taking on the Black Widow mantle going forward. So that could be, I don't know, is that a big enough revelation? I mean, we all kind of see it coming. So on that note, does this sound like a kick off the summer May release date movie? Winter Soldier action will help, even though it didn't help Atomic Blonde at the box office, which is a real shame because those fight scenes were amazing. Big reveals, I think, will be needed to really push this over the top, and a killer end credit sequence. 2020 is a light year. It's a year of risks movie-wise. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Maybe, here's an idea for an end credit scene. Maybe Norman Osborn, because of the Superior connection, is funding the whole thing. They could even get rid of Superior and just have Iron Maiden, aka Rachel Weisz, fill that role going forward. Kevin Feige does like to consolidate. All right, so what do you think? Share your thoughts down below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.